any of the stations in America. And she was good looking, she had brilliant Irish, and she was a great journalist. About 3 months after we went on air, or 4 months, one of the top English people, TV stations came and said, we want her. So I think, you know, mar fucking score, or the last word, I think that, and they also said we give her 10 times more money. So I think that that's how we should be as Irish speakers, as a group of people, that everybody should want us. Not something that we should do for ourselves, but that everybody should want us. Really want it. I have a young brother as well, and he's only 7. He Riga, agus O'Honic and Afro Mion, since people started changing the way they think about it, you know, like rather than looking at Irish as something that belongs to Gaeltacht and poor people, now they're looking on Irish as something that belongs to young people and it's modern and cool and trendy. So like the young people are actually beginning to read it again, and they're demanding that they have their Irish section in each paper. In case you want to add your name.
But you would say that this is kind of tied to the rise in the economy in Ireland. People are feeling better about themselves and therefore they want their language maybe.
It did. Well, it has a lot to do with the economy in the sense that it's more affluent and people are, you know, willing to go back and build houses in these areas rather than people saying, listen, I want to go to America. So like the Gaeltacht regions are, you know, they're healthier population-wise and people. But it really doesn't have to do, I think it has to do an awful lot with a change of attitude. You know, that it's not really any one group, it's not television or it's not radio or anybody saying, listen, change. But people themselves have realised that now it's something to be proud of, rather than, you know, like, I don't think that if you have an awful lot more money, you're going to start learning Irish. I don't think, you know, I think it's something that people say, listen, we all, especially, it's very important for the kids, that parents are saying to their kids now, you know, it's awful important that you have Irish. There's opportunities out there now with Irish, there wasn't before. You're going to have English anyway, so Shinnon Falls will have been, I was an aggregation to you. And another one, Ella, Sean would dare enough. I cut the pin out of myself. Which can.
Irish, but it would be a little difficult for people that don't know Irish. Obviously, they wouldn't understand it. But we have every one of the things translated there. So if I give out the copies, and I'm going to read at least part of this, the main part of the talk, which is about the Book of Our Man. And actually, we have an awful lot of stuff here because.
You want to give them out now, Brian?
I think we give them up.
Okay. Visa? No, Kingstown.
Now, we don't have to worry, I think, about those right this minute.
Okay, here's
St. Patrick wrote two things that we have, two pieces of history. Documents. He's the only person in Europe